Good morning, Dr. John Taylor Kent here. I just reviewed my videos just a little bit, and so I'm going to entitle this one Men's Abortion Rights. That's right, men's abortion rights. We men have had no choice. The Supreme Court left us out of it. The states left us out of it. And it's not right. Men should have abortion rights. You'll say, well, men don't have abortions. Well, that's the problem, is that we're not consulted. And so our children are aborted, murdered, whatever you want to call it. And we're not consulted. We're not asked, do you want the child or do you not want the child? Now, I think we should be consulted. And I think that any woman who wants an abortion should be required to either present the consent notarized from the male partner agreeing to it, or should be required to go before a judge in court to discuss why the man should not be consulted. And if a man says he wants the child, then he should be given the child. We have no other choice. You know, we men can't bear the children ourselves. I don't give a damn what your wokeness says. It's just not going to happen. We can't bear children. We don't get that option. And so we don't have any option except to have children through women. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now, again, you can do whatever wokeness you want on that too and claim that, you know, a woman isn't a woman or whatever. The fact is that we men have been left out of this. And the fact is, it's not, ladies, just your body. There's one cell from your male partner in there. And you may say, well, it's nothing, it's just one cell. It wouldn't be possible to have that life without that cell. So why don't we get a say in it? We need to get a say in it. Any man, most of the men I know, find out after the fact that their girlfriend has had an abortion. And the women act like there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with them being told afterwards. Well, they don't think about anybody else except themselves. Because if they'd have thought at all, they might have asked the man, hey, I'm pregnant. It's your child. Do you want the child? You know, of course, there's other things to be talked about as well, like, do you want me? Do you want the marriage? Do you want a family? What do you want? Now, don't get me wrong. I know when I was younger, my thinking was off quite a bit. And I look back at those days and, man, I can't believe that was me, but yeah, it was. So what about men's rights? Men's abortion rights. I think that a man who has impregnated a woman should have the right to demand the child. That's right. The woman must carry the child to full term and then hand the child over to him. Why not? Why not? I'd love to see one state, or a couple of states, a few states adopt that. You know, this thing about denial of abortion rights is, of course, bullshit. No abortion rights. Are you sure you're spelling that right? R-I-T-E-S? Rights, like a religious right? A sacrificial right? A sacrificial right to your god Moloch? Look, folks, what I'm getting at is that we men have been left out of this whole thing for a long time. Except you can tap into our wallets forever. You can harass us forever with a child, holding it over us, rearing the child to alienate us. Man, that's another thing that I would love to see a state adopt. I'd like to see it be a felony with a mandatory 1-year prison sentence minimum for alienating a father from his children. If you're going to alienate a parent, you ought to spend a year in the slammer and become a felon and lose your rights. I mean, that would be in the best interest of the child. To have good fathers. I know a lot of you women don't think any of us are any good, but it would be in the best interest of the child for the father to be involved, for the man to have input, for the man to spend time with the child, help the child in forming its character and growing up. Of course, we men aren't allowed to have any of that. It's all dictated by the courts, which are intent upon family destruction. They're not family courts. Family destruction courts is what they are. So what about men's rights? As far as whose body it is, do you women realize that abortion causes cancer? Now, I know that as a scientist, trained, I'm not permitted to say it's causal. I could only say it's correlated. But the correlation is so strong that I'm going to go ahead and say it's causal. If you look up in my old blogs, the old ones that are archived, not the current one, and search, you'll find the statistics provided by a physician from India as to the rate of increase of risk of abortion according to the term the term of pregnancy when abortion occurs. So these late-term abortions, it's almost guaranteed the woman's going to get breast cancer. Well, I know, you don't want to believe me, you think I'm kidding. Well, then go look it up and do your own research. I'm not obligated to you to do anymore. However, I think that a physician and the woman could make a determination best as to what's best for her. However, a man might need to bring his own physician in there to assess this woman, just in case she's intent upon killing his child. By the way, did you know that 80% of females reproduce? 80% of women have children. Do you know what percentage of men reproduce? Take your guess. Well, I might as well just tell you. Only 40% of males reproduce. And you'll say, well, gee, it's about even. Actually, there's a few more females than males. Just a percentage or 2 or 3 more females than males. Yet 80% of them are reproducing, but less than half of the men are reproducing. How can that be? Well, that means basically that these women are sharing the same men for fathers of their children. Think about it. It means that women are going after the same group of men. So what about men's rights? What about a man's right to reproduce? Why is that never considered? Why is custody always awarded to the women automatically? And yet the science, the research we have on male children reared by mother alone shows that 70% of them become criminals, whereas only 6% of children reared by fathers alone become criminals. Actually, we have the stats on boys. We don't have the stats on girls, because if we had the stats on girls, you women would change your minds. You'd say, hey, by the way, you're taking my daughters too, because the outcome on girls is really bad. We're not allowed to study that for some reason. Nobody has set up a study on that. And the study of Lesko in 2001 needs to be revisited. Those studies need to be reconducted. But what you'll find is that if men are awarded custody of the children, you're going to reduce the need to build penitentiaries, reduce the need for your criminal justice system, reduce the need for police, reduce the burden on society. But we can't have that because our masters are too busy making sure that to bugger everything up to make life on earth as hellish as possible. So what about a man's right to an abortion? Oh, well, should we be able to demand that abortion? Why is it only the woman gets to choose? Why can't a man choose? I think that's an important thing. Oh, I'm certain that a lot of men dictated to their girlfriends they were going to get abortions a while back when we were more naive as a society. But as we grow older and get a little bit of experience, we get a little bit more wisdom and we realize the errors in our ways. So join me, support men's abortion rights. A man must be consented. He must give his consent, and if he won't participate in that, then it needs to go before a judge. That's what family courts should be used for, is saving lives, building families, not tearing them apart. All right, I'm out of here. Men's abortion rights, you're not going to hear it any other place except here. So if you like my show, I do have the best Bible in the world to sell you. I know a lot of you don't want to read anything, much less a Bible. However, I'm going to tell you this is the best one ever produced in the English language. And it's for sale for about a third of the going rate of the competitors. I suggest you jump in and get those. I'm going to put the link down in the description. Copy it and paste it into your link. Okay? Into your browser. Copy and paste it into your browser, and you'll see it'll take you to a page. There's going to be a drop-down box. You can choose the format, large print, standard print. There might even be soft covers still available there. You know, paperbacks. Or the leatherette cover, black or brown cover, tab or untabbed. Those are available as well. The study notes are not biased. The introductions to each one of the sections in each one of the books is quite good. It's not offensive. There's no political brainwashing. There's no social justice being mentioned. You know, justice is one of those things that has to remain pure. Otherwise, it's not justice. There's not religious justice, economic justice, or social justice. There's only justice. Racial justice. Good Lord. There's only justice. It's a pure concept. It must remain pure. Okay, folks, I've gone a little too long. Men's abortion rights. Buy my Bible, the proper name version of the King James Bible, which corrects the error Ptolemy II made in approximately 275 BC when he was translating the Hebrew Bible, Hebrew and Aramaic, into Greek, producing the Septuagint, because the bulk of the Israelites at that point were in dispersion. That's right, 275 BC, well before the birth of Christ. I like to call him Yeshua. Got to toss that in there. You'll find the name Yeshua in the Bible. You'll find the name Yahweh in this Bible. It really does help to clarify things. This is a major improvement on the original King James Bible. May God bless America.